Hi, folks. Rusty here, and David Ernest will be in just a moment with Health and Wealth. But I'm out here on the street with Bernie. We've got more jokes from the street. Bernie, you okay?
I'm okay.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. Sure. And so you've got another joke for us.
Yes, this one is about a lady on a train with a baby.
Okay, I'm ready.
So this lady gets on the Amtrak train with her baby, and she finds a seat. There are not many people on the train. And she finds the seat, and she's sitting there with the baby. And they're going down the track, lickety-split, you know, that Amtrak really moves.
Yeah.
So this guy is on the train already when the lady gets on, and he gets up to move around, and it's very obvious that he's had a few too many, if you know what I'm saying.
He's drunk.
That's about the size of it. Yeah, he's loaded. He's polluted. He's had a few too many, like I said.
Okay.
So he's walking around, and he walks over to the lady, and the lady's holding the baby, and he looks down at the little baby, and he says, "Ma'am, is that your baby?" And she says, "Why, yes, that's my baby." And then he says, "That has got to be the ugliest baby I ever seen."
No.
Yes, he did. He said that the baby was ugly.
Well, I'll bet she was upset.
Oh, you don't know. She was very upset. She was incensed. She was angry.
Well, what'd she do?
Well, she sat there for a minute. She just didn't believe it. And the guy goes over and he sits down. He's passed out. He's out of the picture. But she's still upset about him calling the baby ugly.
Well, I can imagine, yeah.
Well, about that time, the conductor of the train, he comes walking through, checking for tickets. And the lady stops him, and she tells him, she said, "That man over there has insulted me, and he was very rude, and I am so upset. You just don't know how upset. I will never ride the Amtrak train again."
Well, she was mad.
That's what she told him. She'll never ride the Amtrak train again. And the conductor, being a company man,
With the company a while, huh?
oh yeah, he's vested. He says to the lady, says, "Ma'am, on behalf of the Amtrak company, I would like to apologize for anything this gentleman has said that would offend you. And I would like to make it up to you as best I can." And he reached in his pocket,
Yeah.
and he pulls out these 2 tickets, and he says, "These are round-trip tickets to anywhere in the United States you would like to go on the Amtrak. This is worth a lot of money. Please take it with my compliments."
He's trying to schmooze her over.
Yeah, that's right. He's schmoozing her, yeah. And he says, "I'm sorry again that this gentleman obviously is passed out over here. I'm sorry that he offended you. And I would also like to invite you to step back to the club car and have a fine meal on the Amtrak company. They'll pay for it, and you'll enjoy a fine meal riding in the club car, some music, maybe a drink, and ask for the chef, ask for Leo, and I'm sure if you ask Leo, he will be able to find the banana for your monkey." So the guy was drunk, but there was nothing wrong with his eyes. Ugly baby. Ugly.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees. I need fun. That's what I want. That's what I want.
From our super secret studios in a Quonset hut on a huge military base, it's the Health and Wealth Show. I'm Rusty, and for the next 30 minutes, you're going to hear some good news about your money. Now here's your host, the king of cash, the high priest of pocket change, the man who was the first to put a playing card in the spokes of his Schwinn. Ladies and gentlemen, it's David Ernest.
Man, I'm so glad my mama loved me.
How's that now? Of course, we're always glad that our mama loves us.
I know, but you know, your mama even loves you when you're ugly.
You got a face only a mother could love. You ever heard that one?
Yeah.
You got a face for radio.
You
I
got
heard
a face
that
for
one
radio.
a lot.
Yeah. But the ugly babies, you know, they just not loved so much except by their mamas and their daddies.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I have seen my share, and everybody says, "Well, there are no ugly babies." Well, yeah, there are, but a lot of times they're like a little ugly duckling, you know. They kind of and then they get grown and everything, and they look really nice, you know.
Right,
but
right.
There's some that kind of like, I don't think that one was done. Let's put him
Put
back.
him back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they really are no ugly because they're all cute, you know, in their own way.
Yeah, they're cute, and especially when you know when
Imagine Ernest Borgnine as a baby.
like Bam Bam.
Edward G. Robinson as a baby.
Yeah, carrying that baton around and hitting
Yeah.
people with it.
That's right.
Yeah. I tell you, some of these kids can be something. I mean, some of them want to play rough, some want to play gentle. They think things are funny that, you know, we don't think's funny, but they just laugh. Like I had that little thing that we did, a little jingle we did about money.
Yeah.
My little grandsons just laughed about that, and I laughed, but they just laughed so much they cried.
Maybe that's our demographic is these little children. Get them in here and they'll just be laughing.
And maybe that's it. But you know, we all came from being children.
Yes, we did.
We all came from being babies. And I tell you, when I took embryology, I never will forget.
Now, wait a minute, hold up. Embryology, that would be the study of like
life.
embryos and
Yes.
Okay.
You know, just development.
just checking.
Yes. And the professor said, you know, everybody starts off ugly.
Yeah.
And they end up looking better. And of course, they show all these pictures. You see, and you're pretty ugly when you start. You look like a mass of ugliness.
You look like that baby from 2001.
You don't really want to look at yourself then.
No.
You wouldn't want to be looking at yourself. We start off pretty ugly.
Yeah, think about your poor mama. She got to look at you the whole time you're there. You know, when you first arrive and all nasty looking.
Well, I'm talking about when you're developing too.
Oh, you mean
when you're inside? You know.
You know, if you had your mama got a little pane of glass put in her belly, you'd have a womb with a view.
Oh, that would be awful. That would not be good.
I'm just checking to see if you knew that.
I mean, there's noses in the wrong place.
Yeah.
There's, you know, and all kinds of weird stuff. So we'd start off pretty ugly.
I have heard this, and I would like to see this. You know, folks do this now. They want to see that baby, and they get these ultrasounds.
Oh yeah.
And they do these reveal parties and everything where you find out they know the sex of the baby, but then they come out and have a party and they spring it on you and everybody's all happy and everything.
Right.
But they've got that little picture of the ultrasound.
Yes.
You can take that and have a life size
Yes.
3D printing made of it.
Oh yeah, I've seen them.
And I'm like, that's kind of weird.
It
but
is.
It looks just like what's inside.
Well, pretty much, except sometimes they look like something was laying on their face.
yeah,
It's kinda
well,
smudgy
I
looking.
understand it's kind of cramped in there. I don't remember, but I understand it's not a whole lot.
Oh,
of
you
room.
don't remember?
I don't remember back that far.
Well, you didn't read the book Dianetics, man.
No, well, I didn't want.
You're not a Scientologist.
I didn't want to change religions.
Oh no. Well, you know that started off not as a religion, but
I think it started off as a joke, really.
yeah. Well, it still is.
You know, we actually have on our cable. And I didn't know it was on. There's the Scientology channel.
Oh, really?
And have you seen?
No.
What's her name? Leah Remini.
Uh-uh.
And these shows where she used to be in that, and she
yeah?
left, and she's blowing the whistle on 'em.
Oh yeah.
I understand it's kind of strange.
You got to have some money.
Yeah,
gotta
and
have-
and you got to be wanting to give it up because that's what they want.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But anyway, speaking of being ugly, yeah, you know what? Some things are so ugly they're cute.
Yeah,
Just look at these little animals when they're born. You know, like little pigs or little dogs. You know, they're just so ugly. But people say, "Oh, it's so cute." And you look at it, and my God, that thing's not cute. It's got an ugly nose. It's got floppy ears. That's not cute. You know, but some things can be so ugly they're pretty.
Yeah.
They're precious, and that's the way our children are when we see them. Now, as they grow older, we still think of them that way. I mean, all you mom and daddies out there, think about when your children were first little. You still think of them that way, even though they're maybe big and muscular or sassy or whatever your disagreements are with them. You know, you still have those fun feelings. you probably still have the fun feeling. But then when the grandchildren come, for those who have had
Oh
grandchildren,
yeah, that's revenge time.
then that you can really have some fun.
That's when they come over to your house. You get them all sugared up and send them home. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't have any
know.
children. I don't know if we've ever told you that. Me and Donna
Oh,
never
yeah.
had children.
Right.
But we got nieces and nephews.
And you revenge
Oh
them.
man, I have sent them home where they could walk up the wall.
Oh, I've done that. That's fun, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But the other thing is, though, a lot of folks out there might laugh at this one, and this hadn't happened with me yet, but think of the revenge of the inheritance, of the legacy.
Yeah.
What? I didn't get anything. It all went to the kids. Oh, really? Sorry. Of course, who can argue with that one? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about ugly babies that really are beautiful, but what about a legacy? The legacy of your children. Are you going to leave a legacy? Do you want to leave a legacy? There's ways to leave legacies for these children.
Yeah.
So that, one thing is like, okay, education. That's a big legacy.
Yeah.
If you help educate these children, they're going to have a tremendous remembrance of you.
And they're going to have a head start on everybody else. If you plan and leave a big old trust for them, they might get through college without having to put anything out of pocket.
And I'm glad you said the word trust, because one of the things you can't trust is a kid.
No, I think their heart's in the right place, but sometimes they get off the track.
I'm telling you, they always get off the track.
Oh,
Usually.
yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they always will, but so far on large amounts of money, and I'm not going to say, I'm not talking about millions. I'm talking about tens of thousands, maybe. When a child becomes of the age of majority in Alabama, that's 19 years old. How many 19-year-olds do you think have a lot of sense out there? Excuse me, I know there might be a 19-year-old listening out there, but excuse me, I was 19, I remember it. Children don't, if something is given to them and they didn't work for it, they don't appreciate it like they would if they worked for it.
Well, if you're 19 years old, and I'm thinking back to when I was 19, that was before Elvis died. I'm thinking back then, if somebody came to me and handed me $25,000.
Yes.
And, you got to think forward 10 years. Well, you're going to have a house to pay for. You probably got a wife, maybe a child, and by the time you're 29. But right there at 19, you're thinking about that new car.
Yes.
Are you thinking about that slick electric guitar you want to get?
Yes.
Or a trip you might want to take.
Or time with the friends.
Or that girlfriend you want to impress.
Or the girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yeah.
Listen, it goes the other way. I had one girl, she went through $350,000 within 6 months. Her mama was calling me, begging me to stop it. I said, I can't do it. The judge gave it to her.
How can you spend that much
She
money?
was giving it to the boyfriend.
Oh.
And mama was calling and said, please stop him. I'm going, call the judge, ma'am. I can't do a thing about it. The judge took it out of my hands. The judge gave, listen, judges out there, I know you guys try to do the right things and do things by law, but sometimes you need to think. You don't give money to 19-year-olds if you can stop it. Don't do it.
I need to find that for you. James Gregory talks about people that win the lottery.
Yeah.
Said the one guy won $110 million.
Yeah.
What you going to do? He said, well, I might pay off the truck, and I'm going to put a new roof on the house.
Yeah.
He said, burn the house down and let them take the truck back. You got $125 million.
Yeah.
But this guy, he was thinking, not thinking ahead, but he was thinking with probably the maturity that years had brought him that, you ain't got to spend it all at one time.
Yes. Yes. That's what we call them. See, in this world, people like me have identified spenders and savers. So the spenders are, let's just say that this is what usually works. Let's just say that most of the things you have to spend all the money coming through because it takes it to make it.
Right.
Okay. So you're a spender. You're not used to saving anything. And then all of a sudden you get a lot of money. Guess what you're used to doing?
Not spending a lot of it.
You're used to spending it.
Oh.
Okay, because you've been spending.
Uh-huh.
So they'll continue to spend. Look at these big ball players that get all this big money and everything.
Oh, man. And
they
then,
just go through it because they're used to spending.
And when they retire, they got nothing.
Right, but as somebody who's a saver, they get the money, they're going to save some of it. It's ingrained in their being.
Well, while I set up my GoFundMe page, we're going to take a quick break. You stick right where you are. We'll be right back with more Health and Wealth with David Ernest.
Don't pay my bills, I need fun. That's why
Good advice is sometimes hard to come by. That's why you should find a financial professional you can trust. There may not be such a thing as a perfect investment. Every financial choice involves trade-offs. It is helpful to have a financial professional on your side to help you organize your goals and have a better understanding of the pros and cons of any financial decision. At Earnest Financial, we focus on working with you to meet your financial goals and provide the advice that can help minimize the hazards you may face. Give our office a call at 334-279-7431 or visit us online at retirewithernest.com.
Hi, folks. This is Rusty. And if you've got your mind on your money and your money on your mind, you're going to love the Health and Wealth Show with David Ernest. Sound financial advice, some tips to make your life healthier, and we sprinkle in a joke or two here and there.
Yeah, right.
So don't miss the Health and Wealth Show with David Ernest. Weekday evenings at 7 right here on News Talk 93.1 WACV.
That's right.
Well, how did he get in here? Security!
You've worked hard over the years to accumulate wealth. You'll probably find it comforting to know that after your death, the assets you leave behind can continue to be a source of support for your family, and the causes that are important to you are recognized. To ensure your legacy reaches your heirs as you intend, you must make the proper arrangements now. Call Earnest Financial to find out how your retirement savings plans can be structured to help increase the value of your estate and create a legacy that your family could benefit from. At Earnest Financial, our team can help you potentially protect your legacy for loved ones and provide benefits for charities while avoiding excessive tax burdens. Call Earnest Financial at 334-279-7431 or visit us online at retirewithernest.com for all your estate planning needs. Just for calling, we will provide you a complimentary Legacy Maximizer report which will illustrate how you can leverage your existing assets to potentially maximize your legacy.
And welcome back to the second half of the program, as we call it. Around here, we just mentioned that. It's Health and Wealth with David Ernest. I'm Rusty, and this is David Ernest, your financial guru. You can call him up at 279-7431, and you know he does not charge just to talk to you and give you some advice. And if you ever spend any money with David, it'd be money well spent, because you're going to find that he knows his onions. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for 30 years.
Thank you, Rusty.
You're quite welcome.
You know, we're talking about legacy today.
Mm-hmm.
Legacy. You know, a lot of people, when they die, they want to be remembered, or the family really wants them to be remembered for their legacy.
Yeah.
And of course, we have something, you know, they call it a funeral, and we talk about them. And then when we go to the graveyard, we have a stone.
That big old stone sitting up there with your name on it.
That has things about it in loving memory, or they did this, or they did that.
I told you I was sick.
Yeah. You didn't listen to me, whatever.
That's right.
So, you know, or, you know, given in loving memory, you know, a donation or charity or whatever. Okay, there's all kinds of things. But what is the most important thing to a family and legacy?
Well, I would say, just from our brief conversation today, probably some sort of a monetary thing that would help the family or family members in the future.
That's the largest legacy that anyone could ever do.
How about that?
I mean, and, you know, there's ways to do these legacies cheap. Somebody said, well, I don't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you've got any money, you can leave a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have cash flow, you can leave a legacy. If you've got a small amount of money, you can leave a legacy. If you got a large amount of money, you can leave a large legacy.
That's right.
A lot of it has to. Well, they say, well, you know, I want to do it, but I'm just too busy. Or this, that, and the other, whatever. The thing is, there's this thing called life insurance that leaves tremendous legacies. It can be leveraged, unbelievable. Now, procrastination. Waiting till you're unhealthy and you can't qualify, or waiting until you're going to get super wealthy because you're going to win the lottery, or whatever you're waiting on, or you're just saying, I'm not going to die, I'll live forever, you guys go ahead and die and I'll be here when you're gone.
I'll leave it to myself.
Yeah, I'll leave it to myself. That's fine if that's the way you want to look at it. But the thing is, you've got these little ones running around. You got, you know, you've got a wife, you've got a mama that maybe needs to take care of if something goes wrong, or you usually you're going to outlive her though. Well, or you got children, grandchildren, or loved ones, or a business. Maybe your business needs to be, what they call business continuation. Whatever the reason of the legacy, you need to sit down with someone who knows how to put these things together. These things can be together with trust to avoid taxes, to avoid government problems, IRS from taking care of your legacy for themselves, because they love to feast on it. There's all kinds of things you can do. But the thing is, you can leave what we call a leveraged legacy. For every dollar, you could probably leave $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or maybe more.
Right.
That's a lot of leverage.
That is.
You put it in the bank, you put $1 in there, and it's got $1 and maybe a penny at the end of the year to go with it.
And you might get that dollar back.
Yeah, and the penny.
Right.
Because you're going to pay taxes on the penny, though. So if you put the dollar somewhere else and you get maybe $2 pretty quick, that's pretty good leverage. Or $1,000. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
On the insurance. The thing is, the insurance companies, they know how humans are. They say, well, the average human, they kind of play in trees like monkeys. They jump from here to there. And so they're going to jump from this insurance policy to this one over here. So we'll give them the world. We'll give them a lot of bananas, but they're not going to eat all of them because they're going to jump out of that tree into another one, and we'll be able to keep the cash. That's what happens with insurance. The reason why insurance is usually a really good deal is because the people don't pay the premium. They get tired of it and they quit paying it. And so the people who come out better are the ones who keep these policies. You go back and do the math on these policies. Most of these policies are astronomical returns. I can show you where the average return, if you kept the policy, probably would be over 10, maybe 15 or 20% return, or sometimes in the thousands of percents if you had been putting it into an investment. And that's incredible. People strain their guts out to, and I'm talking about on death benefit, people strain their guts out to save money in a bank or whatever, and they're not going to leave hardly anything when they could have leveraged the living day. Now, I'm not against banks. I use them. Everybody should use banks for what their purpose is. When you're putting money into something short term, you need to be investing it like it's short term. But if you're going to put something in long term, you need long term investments that pay a lot more returns or have explosions of dollars. You want to invest appropriately. And if you're going to invest in stuff risky versus non-risky versus in the middle of the road, then you need to have some direction for all of these things. But when you're dealing with legacy, you want to leave stuff behind that is tax-free. And life insurance is the best carrier out there to leave things tax-free. If you're going to have, right now, I think it's like about $15 million that you got to leave or something like that before they get into what the old terminology was, inheritance tax.
Yeah.
So anything $15 million or less, you don't really have to worry about unless it's a gift tax problem. So you can put it in all kinds of different trusts, or you can just leave it in the insurance policy.
Well, let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
You talk about setting up these kind of things.
Right.
Now, I remember my brother-in-law passed away.
Right.
About 11, 12 years ago. And the first thing we did after everything settled is my wife took me to make these arrangements, the final arrangements. And so, but you're thinking about that. You don't want to go do that. Do you think people put it off and they procrastinate because they're thinking about their own mortality?
Yes.
They're thinking about, this has got to do with me dying. I'm not really, I'd rather go play golf.
I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, even myself, I have a hard time thinking
It's not the most cheeriest thing in the world,
No.
I would imagine, but
No.
it would be good to get it done before you can't do it.
And that's why these little small policies that people buy a lot of times are called final expense policies, because
Right.
they're the final expense. But those are the smaller ones, because the average funeral is like $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 in Alabama. So really, it doesn't take a lot to bury us compared to what it takes to leave something behind for someone, to live. The final expense shouldn't have to cost a lot of money, and especially if you get it pre-done. Now, you have to be careful about these funeral homes, because sometimes they'll say, well, you've pre-done all this, you prepaid all this, but here's this extra expense, and it's always going to be a surprise. I mean, I've seen it over and over and over and over. And so a lot of times, and this may sound pretty bad, but if a client is with me and they want to call me up and say, will you intercede with me with the funeral home, sometimes I can get involved and I can make some things different. It's just like any other business. They get you in the weakest spot, the weakest point, and that is, nobody wants to try to negotiate anything when there's death involved because, we're in sorrow and all this stuff. But it's a business, and they will negotiate.
Right.
Up to a point. You can do it. People just hate doing it. So if you're not in tune to that, you can arrange, and you'll be somewhat protected, but they're still going to hit you with some side charges and things like that.
So now we have the band. Now we can have them come out for $600 and play any salsa tune you like during the service.
They'll do it.
They'll come out.
Oh, I've seen all kinds of stuff. Really, if you think about it, having a party, that's what I want. I think I've been thinking about it. I think when I go, I want to have a big party. I don't want to have a bunch of sorrow.
Right. Well, that's what I want. I want people to come out and tell stories about me. And,
yeah.
And maybe somebody cook out and I don't want anybody getting drunk, falling out, but I'd like people to come have a good time and celebrate.
Right.
The fact that I was here.
Well, I don't want to get drunk, fall in the hole with me or anything
No,
like that. But having a good time would be great.
But I have a friend who passed away. Yeah, it's been about 3 years ago. And that's what his wife did, and there was about 100 people there, and it was great. We talked about him and remembered things, and he was such a nice guy.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just like he might show up any minute,
Oh yeah,
it's pretty neat.
But in life insurance, the legacy part, you can leave thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars without having to worry about taxes, without having to worry about certain things being taken away.
Yeah.
You can set it up where even if you had to go long-term carrying it, should I say, when the state Medicaid system had to pay for it or something else, you can fix these things where nobody could get it except for your loved ones.
Because you don't want nobody getting you goodies.
And see, let me just tell you, a lot of people don't realize this, but life insurance, over $5,000 of cash value or a death benefit in the state of Alabama is game for the state to make you have to pay on your insurance, on your long-term care. Yes. A lot of people don't know that. They'll liquidate that policy out so quick. And you might have let's just say you had $10,000 worth of cash value on that policy, and it was sustaining a $100,000 death benefit. Well, they might want you to sign the policy over to them so they could get they're going to get their money. Somehow they're going to look at that thing. But if they need to liquidate that thing out and sacrifice what you were going to leave to the children, they'll do it. They will make you do it.
That's just the way it works, I guess.
But you can avoid that if you pre-plan it properly under the current laws. You can put it in a trust, or you can do this or that and the other. And then there's 5-year lookbacks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You work with attorneys. We work with attorneys on this stuff. Okay. I mean, I'm just talking generically here. I always bring an attorney in when we do these things because I'm not an attorney. Although I do know what needs to be done, I still have to protect myself. Okay?
He has stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. He's not an attorney, but he did sleep there.
Well, when you do this for 30 years, it rubs off.
That's right. You've probably seen just about every scenario we could come up with.
Well, I've seen a lot of them. But the thing is, you want to leave behind a legacy. Every time that check comes in and those kids see that check, they remember Pops. They remember Grandma. They remember Grandpa. They remember Daddy. That's how you leave legacies. You leave legacies so they'll remember you when they see the green. They're not going to forget you, but they're especially going to remember you when they see that coming to them on a regular basis.
And they think about, Grandma took care of us.
Right.
Bless her heart.
And you can do this with your retirement money. There's ways we can do this and leverage retirement money and make your retirement money pay double, triple, quadruple what it was going to pay.
And speaking of retire, we must retire from this program because I see we've run out of time.
Oosh.
So appreciate all the great information. And if you like the information and you want to talk to David Ernest, my lips just went numb. I don't know what it was. If you would like to talk to David Ernest, call him at 279-7431. That's 279-7431, and talk to David Ernest. Thanks for joining us here on Health and Wealth. We'll see you next time.
Your love give me
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives